It's smooth, it's intense, it's an Indonesian textiles technique. Today we're drinking Ikat. Hi guys, it's Jim here from Dr. Tankenstein with another episode of Beers of the British Isles. On today's episode, we're drinking Ikat, which is how you're supposed to pronounce it. Should you release a beer with a name that needs a pronunciation guideline underneath? I'm not sure. Let's see if they did the right thing. So Ikat by Salt Beer Factory, named after an Indonesian textiles technique of dyeing fabrics, I guess. I don't think that's going to affect the beer, but that's what it's named after. This is in the £3 range at Tesco, you know, big can, big beer. This beer is perhaps the strongest I've done on the show yet. This beer is 8%. Now, I think the second strongest I may have done is 7.5, 7.4. This throws caution to the wind and it's 8%. Which is interesting because with all these, it kind of comes in brackets, right? The alcohol kind of comes in brackets. And I thought that 7.4 was sort of the max you could get for some kind of duty or something like that. But this one, 8%, I guess if there is a duty to be paid on it, you know, they've paid it, you know. 8% by alcohol. It's rumored to have 70 IBUs. I'm not sure about that because the brewery didn't tell me, but it's rumored to have 70 IBUs. This is a double dry hopped double IPA, so a DDH-DIPA. It has more letters after its name than I do. So 70 IBUs would, I guess, sit on the, kind of on the mark for this one, I guess. So maybe that's right. And the malt bill for this beer is kind of typical. It's got caramalt, it's got some pale malt, it's got oats and wheat. It does not have any sugar, which is interesting because this is an out and out double IPA now. This brewery's actually said this is a double IPA. So typically, or I guess the old way of brewing a double IPA was that you would put a little bit of sugar in there to kind of thin the body out a little bit because sugar doesn't provide any protein or, you know, mouthfeel. And so that high alcohol would come with almost a bit of a thinner mouthfeel. This doesn't do that, which is kind of the trend nowadays. So what I'm imagining here is, even though it's got those 70 IBUs, I'm still imagining it's going to be on the sweet side. Now, to counteract that sweetness, that sweet malt bill, we've got Mosaic, Amarillo, and Citra. Just three awesome hops. Citra seems to be everyone's favorite again. I don't know if I've done a video recently that didn't have Citra in it. Mosaic, also very popular, and Amarillo, a real, just a classic hop. So what I'm imagining here is it's going to be a big, bold beer on the sweet side, despite these 70 IBUs, maybe I'll be wrong. It's going to have a lot of tropical character to it. It's going to have a touch of the citrus. I think it's also going to be hazy, which, you know, that's kind of, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. But I really like a clear beer sometimes. I like to be able to distinguish between styles by eye, you know. I mean, you know, if you've got a stout or a pale ale, right? It used to be that you knew if you had a New England IPA or a West Coast IPA, and now you just don't know with these hazy beers. But I'm going to stop being an old man, I'm going to stop complaining. Instead, I'm going to pour myself a beer. right, we're in the glass, we're all poured in. We've got a nice thick head on the top. We've got a good carbonation. What I will say is it's a good sign already. As soon as I crack the can open, I smell it, the room filled with like a resinous, hoppy smell, which is always good. So yeah, like I say, it's hazy. It's actually fairly opaque. It's actually quite an impressive haze on this. I guess with a big beer, it being 8%, if you use oats and wheat in there, you know, they don't contribute as much sugar. I guess you're just using a lot of it to get up to your target alcohol concentration. And that's cool. I mean, this is a real impressive haze. Actually, I don't really want it in this beer, but it's pretty good looking. Kind of an unremarkable scent, to be honest. If I were to pick anything out of there, I would say it's got a touch of passion fruit to it, which you can see sometimes with Mosaic. If they've really heavily used Mosaic, sometimes a passion fruit flavor will come through, but it's not what I was expecting to smell, if I'm honest. So passion fruit, let's see what lies beneath. So soft, so soft and smooth, and they do warn you about that on the can, so yeah, they are not wrong with that. I'm just going to take a minute. Yeah, that's a very interesting beer. I'm kind of lost for words. So what I said was it was very soft on the palate, and it definitely is, which is interesting because if you look at the bubbles forming on the glass, it looks like it's very well carbonated, which you know often leads to not a smooth beer. Yeah, so nice and soft on the palate. Very low bitterness. I mean, if there are 70 IBUs in this, I don't know where they've put them. Maybe they're at the bottom of the can here, I'm not sure. 70 IBUs seems a lot for this beer. Very sweet, so sweet. Let me... I'm almost bordering on a little bit too sweet, if I'm honest. But that passion fruit character that I was talking about earlier does come through. Passion fruit, I would say, is the main component to this. Somehow, I'm not sure. Amarillo, Mosaic, Citra, that shouldn't be it. I guess maybe what they've done here is they've thrown a lot of hops in at the beginning of the fermentation. You know, it is a double dry hopped double IPA, a double dry hopped IPA. It's a double dry hopped IPA, which means that they probably threw a lot of hops in at the start of the fermentation. The yeast went to work on it, and I guess this is what was left over. It's not unpleasant. It's quite nice. It kind of leads to that sort of jammy flavor again that I've discussed in the past, where you got very sweet kind of palate with a fruity flavor. The burp I just did was quite a tropical burp, so that's kind of the aftertaste, I guess. What I will say is the 8% alcohol makes itself very apparent as you swallow the beer, so it's got that nice warming alcohol character to it. So yeah, impressively hazy, maybe undercarbonated, I'm not sure, but strangely carbonated. Passion fruit runs through the scent and the taste. Very sweet, very soft. Very pleasurable to have in your mouth. And as you swallow, you get a nice warm alcohol. Salt Beer Factory. The guys that make this beer, Salt Beer Factory, here they are. I must admit, I thought that Salt Beer Factory were a bit of a pretend brewery when I first heard of them. When I first heard of Salt Beer Factory, it was in a pub that kind of, you know, they were kind of touted themselves as a craft beer pub. They had Punk IPA on, you know, and then Salt Beer Factory came along, and so I just kind of thought, you know, that's probably a joke brewery. But it's not. They're also they seem very cool. 2018 formed. 2018 in Saltaire, which I guess is where the salt comes from. So Saltaire has another brewery, of course, a brewery that I've had beers from previously, even done episodes about. Saltaire Brewery, and I described Saltaire Brewery as a traditional brewery embracing craft. I would say that Salt Beer Factory is that on its head. It's a craft brewery embracing tradition, so they don't shy away from the fact. In fact, they're really proud of the fact that they're in Saltaire, the home of charity, is essentially the home of textiles and just good feelings all around. You know, workers' rights and things like that. They're really proud of that. So Salt Beer Factory embraced that. The brewery looks incredible. The tap room looks incredible. The events that they hold look incredible. The only downside I can see from Salt Beer Factory is that they make a hard seltzer. So I'm sorry guys, but they do. I'd love to have a beer with these guys one day. Okay, let's sum this mother up. Ikat. Let's sum this up. So the appearance is, in my eyes, disappointingly hazy. I don't really want this in my double IPA, if I'm honest. But that's what they've gone for. So that's their choice. Who am I to argue with that? Head retention was quite good as I poured it. This has been out for a short while now. Still cold, but a short while. The aroma, yeah, just I can get passion fruit now that it's getting a little bit warmer. I can get that pininess. There's probably the same pininess that escaped from the can as I opened it earlier. So I get the pininess and the passion fruit coming through. It's a real mouth pleaser. It's very sweet. It's very calm. It's very smooth. That being said, I probably wouldn't want two of these in a row. It's very strong. It's very sweet. It's very nice, but this isn't, you know, don't buy two of these and expect to drink them both after the other. The hop flavor, again, is just passion fruit. It just runs straight through the passion fruit. And as you swallow it, you get that nice, reassuring alcohol burn at the back of your throat. This is a well put together beer. Myself, in a double IPA such as this, I would have liked a little bit more bitterness. A little bit more bite to it. Carbonation is entirely, I mean, everything's entirely up to them. But personally, in a double IPA, I look for just a little bit more bite. The sweetness is great, but you just need a little bit more balance in it for me. I'm not a professional brewer. I certainly don't have an awesome tap room in Saltaire, so who am I? That being said, please do go out to your supermarket, wherever you're doing your shopping these days, or get on Salt Beer Factory's website. They have, I think they have free delivery, orders over £35 or something like that, and buy some of this stuff from them directly. Support your local brewery, of course. Get yourself an ee-kaht, Ikat. and see what you think. And if you like it, and your local bottle shop's still selling, head down there, tell them that you like this beer, tell them what I said, maybe not, and ask them for something similar. Double IPAs are they're a real minefield, they're a real open book, so you can find some great ones out there. So dig in. Whilst you're enjoying it, whilst you're enjoying your ee-kaht, the real pronunciation is ee-kaht, stick on Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix, because that song sums this beer up perfectly. In the meantime, guys, cheers.